Okay, welcome back everybody. I'm teacher Nathan from Writers at Work, and this afternoon, let's take a look at SCGS Prelim paper from 2023. Let's take a look at the grammar questions first. Question 1. Although the basketball team met with many obstacles, they managed to win the championship dash all odds. So over here, we are interested in conjunctions. And some keywords that we are interested in include many obstacles, but they still managed to win the championship. So there is a contrast being observed here. Now looking at our options, the first word we have is admits. This is not really a conjunction, but rather this is a preposition, and it is used to show ongoing activities. For example, amidst the pandemic, a lot of airlines cancel their flights. Then we have despite, which is a conjunction and is used to show contrast. And we have against, which is a preposition here, but it's used to show in opposition to something. Lastly, through shows a certain direction, and this is also a preposition. Maybe I should change it to a conjunction or preposition question. Okay, so looking at our options, it seems that we only have option 2 and option 3 to consider, because we are looking at a contrast and how the team managed to overcome all these challenges. So if we look closely, we will observe that when you use despite here, there needs to be only one subject. That means we are just looking at the team. Or maybe you can say, despite being ill, Ali ran in the race. It's just looking at one person, and we are not interested in how they have many obstacles, managed to win the championship, etc., which are many different topics. As such, our answer here will be number 3, against all the odds. Now moving on, let's take a look at question 2. My colleagues and Dash treated our new colleague Amy to a sumptuous meal to welcome Dash to the team. So when we observe this kind of question, we know it's talking about pronouns. And we will take a look at this verb here, treated. This is a verb, which means the person who engage in this verb will be our subject. So if we look here, my colleagues and Dash. So these two are my subjects. And you can see that Amy is the recipient of this treat. So she is the object of the sentence. And this word here, to replace Amy, needs to be an object, the personal pronoun. So if we look at the options, we will not choose me for the first one, because me is used as an object personal pronoun. But our question wants a subject personal pronoun. As such, we will only look at option 1 and 2. Next, we'll observe that you want to welcome the object of the sentence. Hello, Kate, 3866. We are interested to welcome Amy to the team, and she's the object. And her is an object personal pronoun, while she is a subject personal pronoun. Hello, Amelia. As such, our answer would be number 2. If you want to do a shortcut, you can just cover up my colleague's end. Then you ask yourself, how are we going to answer this question? It will become, I treated our new colleague Amy to a sumptuous meal. So we also can do that to eliminate option 3 and 4. Okay, let's go on to question 3. William never came over again after you picked a quarrel with him. Dash, mother asked. So we are interested in a question tag here. And the keyword is he never came. So this can be rewritten as he did not come again. Take note, after you picked a quarrel with him, this is past tense. So looking at our options, we will not consider had or hadn't because this is participle form, which means that one action occurred before the second action took place. We're just looking at a whole sentence which is in past tense. As such, we are only looking at option 1 and option 3. But when you say never, we are looking at the negative connotation at the start of the sentence. As such, at the back, it needs to be the positive connotation. So it will be did he. Okay, so it is number 1. Now let's take a look at question 4. If Siti dashed her work, she would have gone to the party. So we observe here that it is a tenses question. In particular, we are looking at this keyword would. This is in the past tense. So we are saying that this verb in the start, her completing the work has to happen first. Verb number 1. Then you can go to the party. So let's take a look at the options. Complete is in present tense and singular, while completed is in past tense. Then we have has completed, which is in present perfect. This means that the action is completed, but the effect is being felt. Lastly, had completed is in past perfect form. This means that one action occurred before second action took place. As such, our answer for question 4 would be number 4, because there is a clear delineation of the time. Present, past, and the participle. So Siti has to complete homework first before she can go party. And you can see that both events happen in the past and they are clearly separated. That's how we determine our answer. Alright, let's go on to question 5. The boys dash for over an hour under the sun. Let's give them a 10-minute break. So for question 5 here, we are interested in tenses. And the keyword we are interested in is for over an hour, which means that the action started in the past and it's still continuing now. Next, we observe that let's take a look. We also observe that boys is a plural subject. So let's take a look at the options given to us. Verb is present tense and plural. Will be working is known as the future continuous tense. This means that my action will be ongoing sometime in the future. Next, we had been working, which is known as your past perfect continuous. This means that my action was ongoing when a second action occurred. And both this ongoing action and the second action occurred are in the past. That means they happened already. Okay? And lastly, we have been working. This means that the action started in the past and still ongoing. Okay, our present perfect continuous tense. As such, our answer will be number 4, to show the continuity in action. Hello, Twinkle Star. Okay, I'll just give everyone some time to take in the information I've shared for these first 5 questions before we move on to our next 5 questions of grammar. Okay, let's take a look at question 6 now. Neither Mary nor her siblings dash where the party will be held. So we are interested in tenses here. And looking at our words, our keywords, we observe that neither Mary nor her siblings. We take into consideration siblings because of the rule of proximity. That means siblings is nearer to the blank compared to Mary. So the blank would be a plural, will be a word that will take into consideration the plural subject. And next thing, you know that this party will be held. So we are looking at future event. So we use present tense. So plural and present tense, the answer will be number 1, no. Okay, we shall take note that no is also present tense, but this is for singular subjects. Then we have has and have known. Both of them are in the present perfect continuous. And if you remember what we went through for question 5, it's the same. It's a different different kind of tense, but the idea is the action begin in the past and it's still continuing now. Okay. Now, let's take a look at our question 7. The generous emperor donated dash sacks of rice to the commoners when famine struck. So the first thing we observe is this is a determiner question. So determiner questions tell you the quantity of certain subjects inside the question. So looking at this question, the keyword is generous. So if you are generous, you will probably give a lot. So it has a high quantity. Next, we consider the sacks of rice. Sacks can be counted. So looking at our option, the first one is few. Few is countable. A lot is uncountable. They also can be considered as countable. Much is uncountable and many is countable. So you can see we have a high quantity, so we are looking either at much or many, but countable, so only many. Few is countable. I have a few coins in my purse. I can count the number of coins. A lot, we can say uncountable or countable. He is in a lot of pain. You can't count pain. At the same time, I can say there are a lot of cars on the road, and cars are countable. Okay, much here is uncountable, so we use it for things like your effort. He put in much effort in his homework. Okay, let's take a look at question 8. The students' eagerness dash palpable as they prepare for their upcoming learning journey to the nursing home for the elderly. So first thing we observe is this is a subject-verb agreement question. We observe that we are looking at the students' eagerness. Eagerness or the interest in something is singular. Next, you can see that they are preparing for an upcoming learning journey, which is in the future. Therefore, we use present tense. So singular and present tense means that we'll use number 1, is. Okay, let's take a look at question 9. Many Singaporeans have taken to dash their own vegetables in their HDB flats. So over here, we are looking at tenses. So we observe that over here, we have the word have taken, which is in the present perfect tense. This means that the action is completed. Okay, lobang travels. Shouldn't students equals plural? Yes, student is plural, but we are looking at eagerness. You cannot measure a student's eagerness by number. So this is considered uncountable. Therefore, we'll put it as a singular subject. So if I say the students are excited for the learning journey, yes, plural, we'll consider are. But now we are not looking at the students, the numbers, but the eagerness, singular, okay? Now let's take a look at question 9. Where did we leave off? Where did I left off? Oh yeah, on have taken. So have taken is present perfect. So we are looking at how this action has been completed and the effect, but the effect is still felt. Then we observe. Okay, that's all we need to. That's all I have to say about keywords. Now let's take a look at the options given to us. First two are in the present tense. Just that grows with the S tells me it's singular. Then we have the growing, which is continuous. And lastly, we have are growing, which is in the present continuous tense. When we use present continuous, we are trying to show that action is ongoing at the time of speaking. Now, if we look at so we can from what we observe here, the action is completed, but the effect is still felt. So the action probably refers to the end parts or some group of people encouraging Singaporeans to grow their vegetables. But in the effect that is in place is Singaporeans start growing their vegetables. Okay, so this is the growing part. The completed action is the encouraging or education part. Okay, and now we are looking at how the effect is ongoing as we talk. So we are looking at something that is ongoing, a continuous tense. But you see, there's the word two here, so it cannot be two are growing. Hello, Chico Niao. So if we cannot have two are, if there is two and are together, it doesn't make sense. As such, we will use number 3, growing. Okay, and that will be our answer. Now let's take a look at question 10 now. Dash, it is perfectly normal to feel happy when we have done well in our examinations. We should not boast about our achievements and be too proud. So for question 10 here, we are interested in conjunctions, which are basically your linking words. So some keywords we need to observe that we observe is normal to feel happy. At the same time, we should avoid something, should not boast, and we should not do this, be too proud. So we can see that there are 3 concurrent activities ongoing at the same time. So looking at our options, first one, S. S shows comparison. Next, while here shows concurrent activities. Unless shows a certain criteria we need to fulfill, and however shows contrast. So we are looking at how we can feel happy, but we cannot boast, we cannot be proud. As such, our answer will be number 2, to link up all these activities together. Hello, not Sherlyn. Okay, I'll just give everyone some time to take in the information here before we move on to our next section. Okay, my new user is trying to prank. Okay, Let's take a look at our vocabulary section now. Pat has fond dash of the times. She vacation with her family and they bring a smile to her face whenever she thinks of them. So the first thing we observe is bring a smile to her face. That means the memory must be very positive and make her feel very happy. So looking at our options, first one is testimonies. Testimonies means something that is we are referring to a formal, written, or spoken statement. Next, we have description, which is a spoken or written account of a person or event. Recollection is basically the act of remembering something, while composition is you are mixing ingredients. So you can see that she has to think of the particular event in order to feel happy. So it will not be something that is written or spoken, because the trigger will be different. You will not be thinking anymore. You'll be reading, or if it's written is if it's spoken is hearing, right? So our closest answer would be number 3, because you are supposed to recall the things. Okay. Now let's take a look at question 12. No matter how formidable her opponent was, she fought dash and never once thought of giving up. So the key word here is never once thought of giving up. That's the most important thing. That means she was very determined in the fight. We don't know what kind of fight is this. Is it in a wrestling match or in some other activity? But we know that she doesn't want to give up. So the first answer, with the first option here, finally, that means after a long time. Especially with a lot of difficulty and delay, finally you managed to do something. Next is the word effortlessly, which means that you do not do anything with physical or mental exertion. No, nothing. That means it must be very easy, in other words. Relentlessly means in a way, in an extreme way, that continues without stopping. When you do something non-stop, or you're very determined. Conclusively means no doubt about anything. All right. So if you look at a question, we already established that the lady or the girl was very determined. So the closest answer that we have is number 3. Now let's take a look at question 13. Adam was shocked when his usually friendly neighbor gave a dash reply when he asked her about her weekend. So the first thing we observe is shocked, because he did not expect the friendly neighbor to suddenly become the opposite. So this likely means that the friendly neighbor suddenly became rude to Adam. So looking at the options, the first one is curt. Curt means brief and rude. That means you give a very short response, and the short response doesn't respect the person who the response is for. Charge here means that you formally accuse somebody of offense. So it's like a criminal charge, things like that. Okay. Next is expressive, which means that you want to convey your feelings and thoughts. So we can use this to talk about how you are very expressive when you play the piano or you give a speech. You want to tell everybody certain feelings or emotions. Lastly, sentimental means that you are prompted by feelings of sadness. So we already established that the Adam was shocked when the friendly neighbor was unfriendly towards him, or you could say that the friendly neighbor was curt, was trying to be rude to her. Okay. Now let's take a look at question 14. The disgruntled customer tried to dash the reputation of the restaurant by posting negative comments on social media. So over here, we are looking at how the disgruntled customer means that the customer is very unhappy. And you try to do something to the reputation. That means you try to destroy, or you're trying to put the what's this restaurant in bad light. You want to show negative aspects of the restaurant. The first word we have is belittle, which means you dismiss somebody as not important, unimportant. Next, when you want to tarnish someone or a company, means you make people think something is less good. Thirdly, redraw means that you remove or you take away. Okay, so lastly, we have admonish here, which means that you warn or you reprimand somebody. We just stop halfway.
Because the banner suddenly disappear.
Oh,
That should be okay.
okay, thank you. All right. Okay. All right. I think there's some technical challenges, so we just give some time for our friends to join us. Okay, very good. I think we have more or less our friends here. So let's continue with our question 14. Hello, Twinkle Star. So we are looking at how the reputation, which is like your credibility, how people view you, and we are looking at how the unhappy or angry customer wanted to destroy or put the restaurant in bad light. So the closest option that we will have would be number 2. We want to tarnish, and you want to give the impression to others that the restaurant is not good as what we think. Lastly, let's take a look at question 15. The new initiatives from the students dash positive changes to their school. Over here, we're interested in phrasal verbs. And we observe that the new initiatives, the things that the school do, new projects, etc., cause this thing to happen. They cause the positive changes. Okay. Now, let's take a look at some of the options given to us. First, when you bring up or you brought up something, that means you talk about the particular subject. Hello, Orion 3208. Next, when you bring off or you brought off something, you mean you succeed in doing something different. Hello, Carl 3793. Next, brought about means cause something to happen. So it's like we are looking at a cause effect relationship. Lastly, brought down means you cause somebody to lose power. So in this case, we are looking at how the new initiatives, which is a particular cause, has led to certain positive impacts or changes. So this cause effect relationship can be linked when we use number 3, when you brought about the change, bring about the change. Okay. Now, let's go on to our vocab close. So what will happen is I will read through the text with you and I will explain the meaning of the underlined words. Once we have an understanding of the whole text, we look at the options and choose our answer. So let's look at the text now. Singaporeans are keeping isopods as pets. They are catching up on this new and bizarre hobby. So bizarre here means something is strange or unusual. Isopod enthusiasts mentioned that there has been a spike in interest in these creatures during circuit breaker. People were cooped up at home and many of them were bored. So the meaning of cooped up here means that you feel that you are in a small enclosed area. Okay, you have this feeling. This is the important thing. You feel. So your house may be very big, but because you are forced to stay in your house and you cannot travel outside, you have the feeling that you are very restricted to this place. Okay, it's a feeling. It may not be the reality. Since then, the number of hobbyists has been increasing bit by bit. Over here, this means that something is gradually increasing. Some isopod enthusiasts breed thousands of them in their homes. In the wild, isopods function as natural decomposers. In captivity, isopods require minimal maintenance. Maintenance here refers to the process of keeping something in good condition. And they can be fed simple food such as vegetable scraps. Some breeders attempt to breed them and find it very gratifying when they succeed. So gratifying here means you feel a sense of pleasure or satisfaction when you succeed. Now let's take a look at the options for question 16. When we talk about something is bizarre, it means something is strange, something is weird. So looking at our options, the first word we have is erratic. Erratic means something is not regular, or you also can consider it as unpredictable. Sometimes we call it like erratic weather patterns. That means you cannot um, you cannot forecast accurately what will happen to the rain, etc. Peculiar means different from what is normal or expected. So it's like the meaning, it could be like abnormal. Okay. Unstable means something is not solid or firm. So if you feel unstable on a bicycle, you may fall. Lastly, extraordinary means something is very unusual and special. So the idea for extraordinary means something is it's not really seen before, or something has very unique qualities. Okay, so it may have the certain meaning as the unusual that bizarre holds, but when we talk about bizarre, there's this negative connotation that what you are doing is very weird and not something that most people would do. So we will not use extraordinary because this conveys a certain degree of respect. Okay? Instead, we will use the word peculiar because it's something that is abnormal. Okay? Now, moving on, question 17 tests you on the word cooped up, which means that you feel that you are like enclosed and restricted. The first word here is encased, which means that you are covered or surrounded completely. Next, confined means that you feel restricted in area. Sheltered basically means that you're offered protection from bad weather. While enveloped means that you cover or you surround something completely. Yeah, I'd just like to bring to everyone's attention for question 17. Yeah, the first 1, 2, and 4, these three options have a similar meaning in the sense that something bigger like a house, a blanket is like covering and giving somebody that kind of shelter. But the difference is for option 1, when you encase something, you are looking at an object that is being covered completely. For example, your nuclear waste will be encased in a concrete. So it's literally the waste. I don't know how it looks like, but the whole concrete mold, just cover it to the extent it's like squash in the middle, kind of thing like that. Next, when you say someone is confined, it means that you are inside a place. That means it's like a room or some area that is restricted, but you are able to move around. It's not the same as encased, where the whole thing is solidified. You can't even move. Okay. And lastly, when you envelope something, it means that you completely cover a place. But this is not used when we talk about objects. We are looking at it from a bigger point of view. For example, the mist enveloped the cemetery, or like darkness enveloped the whole city. So we are looking at something of a larger scale here. Okay. So because we are looking in the text, we are looking at the people, and they are being like restricted to their home because of COVID-19 circuit breaker. So the closest option we have will be number 2, because we are referring to a place. Now let's take a look at question 18. They say the number of hobbies increasing bit by bit. That means in a gradual manner, slowly the numbers are rising. So looking at the option, the first one is unevenly. Unevenly means something is not regular or consistent. So sometimes the number may increase more, sometimes the number doesn't increase as much. Gradually means something is done slowly over a period of time. Uniformly means in a way that is the same for all cases. While drastically means something happened in a severe and sudden way that is very noticeable. So in this case, our closest option would be gradually, because we are looking at this slow movement and change over a period of time. Moving on, question 19. We are looking at maintenance. So we want to keep something in good condition, to take care of it. Now, looking at our options, the first one is care. Care here refers to that painstaking attention to something. Next, we have the word effort. Effort here refers to a vigorous or determined attempt. To do something. Application means you put something to use, while preservation means you want to prevent something from being damaged. So I think maintenance, when you want to talk about keeping a certain object in a certain condition, we'll be looking at either care or preservation, because both of them have the idea that you are you have the idea that you are ensuring the welfare of somebody or something. So how do we differentiate it? Well, when we want to preserve something, this is usually related to objects. You preserve a vehicle, you preserve the house, you preserve the mummy for research. Okay? And when you use the word care, this one is very specific to protecting one's needs. That means you will ensure that they are well fed, they have a place to sleep, their living condition is good. Yeah, that's the difference. And for the word care, we usually talk about caring for your pets, or usually your fellow human beings. Okay. So in this case, we are looking at how the isopod, the insect is like your pet. So uh, we would determine, or we can ascertain from the text that people take very good care of them and ensure their welfare. As such, our answer for question 19 will be number 1. Lastly, question 20 tells you or tests you on the word gratifying, which means that you feel very happy, you feel satisfied doing something. Now, looking at the options here, the first one is alluring, which means something is powerfully and mysteriously attractive. Next, rewarding means something is satisfying or gratifying. That is, it brings a smile to your face. Productive here means it brings about positive results. Lastly, entertaining means you feel amusement or you enjoy something. So enjoyment. Okay. So for this question here, we are looking at how when you are able to be gratified, means that you feel very happy about something. The closest option we have will be number 2, when it's rewarding. There's a sense of achievement present. Alright, I'll just give everyone some time to take in the information before we move on to our next question. Alright, moving on, let's take a look at some grammar close questions. In one of Miss Kawano's classes, more than a dozen students held mirrors to their faces. They were stretching the sides of their mouths, dash with their fingers. So over here, we still don't have an inkling, or we don't really understand what's happening. But if we read further, you can see that they were practicing how to smile. So when you smile, you will know that you need to move your fingers this way to make that smiley face, which means that our answer will be you want to move the side of the mouth upward. The students, okay, was practicing dash to smile. So you can see here, this is a particular method of giving a smiley face. So to show that the students were trying to do a method, yes, very good. Excel, we are looking at how to smile. It is something most people would not think to pay for, but Miss Kawano's services as a smile instructor, there's seeing a surge in demand in Japan. So we are looking at how the demand in Japan has surged. And this whole text so far has been in the present tense. Right? So we are looking at Miss Kawano's services. So the different kinds of smile lessons she has. So we'll say they are seeing an increasing trend. Where mask wearing was mandatory, dash the COVID-19 pandemic. So COVID here is a particular time period. So we'll say this happened during the time period. Okay. Yep, very good, Axel. Thank you for following me. Miss Yoshida is one of the students. Dash took the class. So you can see this person is a subject because this verb is linked to her. So you will say who took the class. It was part of her school's courses to prepare her for dash job market. So we are looking at this specific environment, which is your job market. So we'll say they are preparing for the job market. Yeah, very good, Axel. She explained that she needed to work on her smile. I hadn't used dash facial muscles much during the pandemic. So this facial muscle is owned by the girl, Miss Yoshida. So I haven't used my facial muscles. Okay. So it's good to exercise. Miss Kawano's company, this company name, which means Smart Education, there's seen a more than fourfold jump in demand. So you can see it means this is present tense, and we are looking at just one company, singular. So you say the company has seen. Okay, so it will be F. Cannot be J because it needs to, because over here this is a participle already. If you want is, it needs to be seeing. Okay. Demand dash the previous year. So you can see this jump is comparison. So you say that, or you can say from the previous year. All right. So we are the comparison. Where's the source? The source is here, the previous year. Then they continue by saying an hour-long one-on-one lesson costs $74. Her trademark Hollywood style smiling technique method. You have what crescent eye, round cheeks, dash shaping the edges of the mouth. So we are looking at some similar ideas of how to smile. So you need to have crescent eyes, round cheeks, and this shaping the edges. So to link them all together, we'll use and. All right. And there we have it, our grammar clause. I'll just give everyone some time to take in the information I've shared before we look at our next section. Yes, very good, Axel. Okay, if there are no further questions, let's go on to our editing. It was the end year holidays. City was in seventh heaven. This means that City is very happy. She and her family dash be going to Korea for a 10-day holiday. So we can see that this is a plural subject. So it will be they were going to the Korea for the holiday. It was her first time flying and she was absolutely thrilled. Thrilled is spelled this way. Siti was still busy packing on the day of her departure. She wanted to make sure that she had put everything she needed in her luggage. So luggage is spelled this way. Very good, Axel. She double checked against her packing list and was totally dashed that she did not miss out anything. Did here already tells me it's the past tense, so you'll be very good, satisfied. Her elder sister felt that she was dash cautious. So we're looking at how this act of caution is ongoing. So we'll say she was excessively cautious. Yes, very good, Axel. Her parents simply looked on indulgently. Here. All too soon, it was time to leave for the airport. Just as Dash were about to board the taxi, so you can see we're looking at plural subject again. So just as they were about to board the taxi. Yep, very good, Axel. She had forgotten. We are looking at past perfect here. So one action occurred, which is forgetting to pack the teddy bear before the second action took place, which is boarding a taxi. And both of these actions happen in the past. And she cannot sleep without the teddy bear. So without hesitation, let me spell it for you. Hesitation. Her father dashed into her bedroom and grabbed the bear. Siti heaved a sigh of release. Finally reaching the airport, there was a snaking queue. And in the twinkling of an eye, they were in the front of the check-in counter. And Siti's father reached into his bag to get the passports. And he let an audible gasp. Spelling errors here. Yeah, very good, Axel. Yeah, so everybody was flabbergasted. Okay, I'll say this text isn't very difficult. So I think we can move on to our comprehension close. Bread Run is a food program by Food from the Heart, a food charity that feeds the needy in Singapore. It was born from a newspaper article about bakeries discarding their unsold bread. Upon reading the article, the founders of Food from the Heart, Christine and Harry Lamer, spotted and dashed to make the most out of the situation. So you can see, when you want to make the most out of a situation, you are finding like a chance to do something. And these were, yes, very good, Axel. You tell me that it is an opportunity. So you want to channel the unsold bread to the needy instead of letting them go to waste. Although it was an uphill dash to convince the bakeries to donate unsold breads. So you can see this is what they want them to do. Convince bakeries to donate unsold bread. This is their work. So, and you can see when it's uphill, we usually say it's an uphill task. It means it's a very difficult work to do. Okay, but they persevered, and eventually some bakeries dash incurring additional work and staff duties agreed. So you can see when these bakeries are trying to make money, but at the same time they have to do extra work. This is showing a certain contrast. So to link the contrasting ideas together, we will say despite incurring the thing, they still continued. So involvement in the bread run program dash steadily from a few bakeries to 111 bakeries. So you're saying how the involvement, there were more and more people. So we'll say that it progressed. So we are looking at over a period of time also. Increase, okay, I also accept increase because we are looking at numbers. You also can say the involvement improved over time, all right? Typically, bread run involves bakery staff setting dash the unsold items at the end of the day. So you are looking at how we are looking at this particular category here. So when we have a category, we will always set aside the items before dash individually to ensure food safety. So you can observe that when we have food safety, the thing that we'll do individually is to pack them. Correct? And they are passed to the volunteer bread runner. Dash come around at closing time. So this is a particular human and it's the subject because he comes around. We'll say who comes around. The bread is dash immediately delivered to the location. You want to put categorizing. No, when we have, if you want to put categorizing, they will tell you what's the category. Or unless you're referring to question 55, you categorize the unsold items at the end of the day. Cannot be categorized because there's a word setting here also. The clue here is food safety, so we cannot use categorize unless they say that the the items that are set aside are dash according to their flavor. Then you can say categorize, and they categorize them according to flavor or maybe the expiry date. Then it's accepted. Okay. The bread is dashed immediately. You can see here that immediately delivered. So this is like step 2. So we would say then immediately delivered because the first step is the bread staff set aside the bread. So it's like step 1. Then step 2 is I immediately deliver to my needy families. Okay. The delivery of the bread dash completed by volunteers every day of the year. So we are just referring to the delivery is a singular subject. So we'll say is completed. Okay, be it rain or dash. So over here, this is a phrase, which means whether it is a bad weather, good weather, whether there are any challenges on the road, traffic jam, accident, the delivery will still happen. So we'll say rain or shine to mean all situations. You're trying to bring out this point or emphasize this thing. Each volunteer is assigned a delivery route that dash the pickup of bread from the bread run partner and drop off of bread at the distribution point. So you can see the delivery route contains 2 things, pick up and drop off point. So we'll say that entails, or you can say that includes or contains the pick up and drop off point. Due to this program, 28,000 kg of bread is dashed from the bins every month. So you see, you want them to be, we don't want the bread to be disposed. So we could say that we save them from the bins. Okay, which works out to 1350 trolleys worth of bread. Over dash, bread runs did encounter disruptions in their daily operations. So when we are looking at this, we are looking back at the whole sequence or the whole time, right? So we'll say over time, the bread runs did encounter disruptions in their operations. Okay, and sometimes they do not have enough bakeries they don't have enough bread. So this is a cause, and the reason for this is because they were sold out for the day. So we can say as because. All right. Some cases, the volunteer were unable to make it for the routes. A few of the bakery partners had also dashed operation due to economic slowdown. So you can see economic slowdown means they probably don't have their customers. And when you have no customers, you don't have money, so the operation, which is your business, cannot run. So they will say had also ceased operations, or you can say discontinued the operations. Okay. Okay, I'll just give everyone some time to take in the information before we move on to the last section for today, synthesis and transformation. All right. If there are no further questions, then I feel that we can move on to our next section. Okay, let's take a look at synthesis. David can only go to the park to play after he completes his homework. So when you have the must here is to show the criteria, which is complete homework first, then you can have the outcome, which is to play. So it will be David must complete his homework before going to the park to play. This is pretty straightforward. Next, frustrated Betty sighed. She lamented that she was making little progress in her project. So we are looking at from this verb here, we are looking at changing it to a noun. So sighing in frustration, Betty lamented that she was making little progress in her project. All right. Now let's take a look at question 68. Why did you break your brother's toy car? Mother questioned me. So you can see question is in past tense. So when there's a break here, we cannot just take it at face value, but we need to consider the tense and change it to had broken, because we are looking at past tense here already. We are not interested in just this tense, but the whole sentence. And your will be my brother's toy car. So mother wanted to know why I had broken my brother's toy car. All right. Now let's take a look at question 69 now. Starting next Monday, the shopping mall will extend its opening hours. So it will be with effect from next Monday. The shopping mall will extend its opening hours. Lastly, the police assured the flood victims that help will arrive soon. So assured here is a verb, it's an action. Then we want to change it to a noun because the flood victims were given. So it will be given the assurance that help would arrive soon by the police. Okay. So I just give everyone some time to take in the information I've shared before we call it a day. Does anybody have any questions? If not, thank you everybody for joining me this afternoon on our Writers at Work TikTok. I'm Teacher Nathan, and if you'd like to join me in learning P5 and P6 English again, do catch me on Sunday, 3 p.m., and we'll be looking at some more P6 papers. And if you are free next week, you also can join me on Wednesday to Friday, 10:30 a.m. on all 3 days, and we'll look at P6 and P5 English again together. Okay, till then, I'll see you guys around on our TikTok. Bye bye.